So we're going to talk about student space. So every student needs a space to call their own. In a self-contained classroom, this is even more important when we start talking about functional routines. It's also an area that you can often use for student schedules, or it has the potential to be used to store the student schedule, kind of a home base for students. They can store their materials there, they can keep their items from home there, and they can sometimes check their schedule there as well. Just like we as adults like to have an area to put our personal materials when we come to work every day, students need a space to put theirs. So this is going to look different in every classroom. Not every classroom is set up the same. Not every classroom comes with built-in cubbies. So we have to get creative sometime. It could be a cubby where a student stores their backpack or their lunchbox. If you're lucky enough to have built-in cubbies, it might be that simple. For some of you, I know that you do not have built-in cubbies and you've had to, like I said, get a little more creative. It might be an individual desk where the student's schedule is at their desk. They store their pencil box and other materials inside. However, many of our self-contained classrooms don't have a desk for each student. And in some cases, that's not even appropriate or necessary. So that might not work. In some cases, it may work. It might be the case that individual students need a more structured area in addition to their cubby or just a storage area. And other students might not need that area. So maybe you have a student who does have a desk that's theirs because sometimes they just need a little more structure and others may not. So you can adjust that based on your students' needs. The picture on the far left, I really like because it's just one of those science fair boards. And they've put the things the student needs. She's got her schedule. She's got pencils and dry erase marker there on the left. You can see she has a calendar for things that are coming up. She has her computer where she's working. And during COVID, that could even work like in a home environment. If hopefully we're past that point, but we might not be. If students are sent home to work, they could have that even at a kitchen table to divide that space and give it a little more structure. For some students, if you have students who you're teaching who are virtual, who are at home this year, and that might be a good option if parents are struggling for I have to use a kitchen table for school. Even just setting up that board or that little divider can help to students to know okay, when this is on the table, it's work time, it's school time. When it's not on the table, then I do the things I normally do on my kitchen table at home. I eat there, maybe I play a game there, whatever it is. And it's important that staff have a spot too. I don't have a picture for this, but I just want to point out, it's really important that staff have a place to store their lunchbox, their bag, their jacket, their purse, their whatever it is that you have that you bring to school in a place that's inaccessible to students, right? So the students can't get into it. So sometimes it can be a cabinet. Sometimes it's behind the teacher area, wherever that is in your room, just making sure that we have thought about that as well. Okay. So I've already said this, but use what you have. Not all classrooms are going to have lockers or cubbies. Plastic bins are a great alternative. You can see an example of that. And in this example, they're using those cube shelves to put the plastic bin on. But I've also seen teachers use those milk crates and turn them up on their side so that the open part is facing out. And then you can zip tie those. You can see the other example, the schedule on the desk is just indicating that a student could have a desk that's their kind of home base area with their schedule. They would come back to that when they need to check their schedule. And if you have older students, it might be a locker if it's a junior high or high school. And keep in mind, what do their peers use? Especially when you're talking about older students who are maybe they're in the hallway with their peers more. If they can use a locker, if that's available to them and it's something that they can access, think about what those same age peers are using and how to help them access the same things. So we might have to get a little more creative. Maybe a combination lock isn't going to work for them, but what else can we do to modify that and be taught to use the same kind of storage system that others are using?